Everyone in the house that knew who her favorite preacher was, raise your hand. And that's the truth. I had a lot. Dr. Reddick could be real proud of me. She's the head of our Bible college, and she loves when I have notes. Aren't you proud? I had her one time. She had to kind of pitch hint for me, and whatever you call that. But anyway, I said, "Where's my notes?" And she said, "Well, there's nothing here." But there's something here today. I want to say thank you to all the loved ones, people that have driven hundreds and up over 1,000 miles. Her kids from Michigan. I don't see Melody and Rick, but I know they're in the building somewhere all the way from Iowa. Others, if I can't see you, it's because I can't see you. Okay, baby. And I mean all of you that came from a far or short distance. I don't know how many are aware this is being broadcast worldwide this morning. Thanks to people that are so dedicated in this house to their Mimi. Many of them have told me the last few days, said, "Well, we knew that what you were doing, when something needed to be done, all you need to do is have her to ask and we'd do it." Nobody ever listens to me. But this morning, I had so many things, and the last week has been just a time of reminisce, and boy, it hit me Thursday and Friday. I thought I knew what I had. As I began to reflect and understand, there's not a man on the face of the earth as blessed as I've been 30 years. A lot of y'all have nice wives. Some of them are kind of cute. But I was privileged to live with the most beautiful woman I feel that ever. Wasn't she a fox? I didn't know her then. For you that didn't know, I was younger than her. I want to read a couple scriptures. I'm not going to hold you long, and you all that go to this church know that's a lie too. Proverbs 18:22. This is the truth. Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing, and obtaineth favor with the Lord. One of my dear friends that couldn't be here today because of health, when they called, Faye Griffin said, "Earl said, next to Jesus, Wilma's the best thing ever happened to you." I said, "You don't have to tell me that. I've said that for 30 years. She made me, her and the Lord made me the man that I am today. I was a hillbilly from Oklahoma. Didn't know come here from Sickle. Didn't know nothing about football. Don't want to learn. But I know about my Lord, and know what He can be and what He is to each of us. I know what it is to live with a elegant woman. A lot of folks thought we were mismatched. There are people listening to this today that told me on the phone after 30 years, they said, "We said at your reception you would never make it over a year." Well, I know one of them, her dearest friend ever, Miss Joan Carruthers. And Joan, I hope you're able to pick this up today. She would love to be here. But she's the one that told me that, and others. But I tell you what, Wilma, whoever that was that said she finished, Brother Coot, I think, she finished this race putting up with me. And I don't know what He had built for her up there, but I know it has to be special. Because I tried my best to be special to her while she was here, and I wasn't the best husband, I know that. But I know nobody could love her as I did. Proverbs 19, oh, by the way, I changed that scripture. I know we're not supposed to do that. Where it says to finds a good thing. I always called her sweet thing. If you ever saw any things that I gave to her intimately, it always said sweet thing. I didn't put it on the coffin, but I did always, everything was sweet thing. She might be a sweet thing. Proverbs 19:14 says, "A prudent wife is from the Lord." Anybody ever feel like maybe you sought the wrong place to find your wife because she didn't act like the Lord? Prudent wife is from the Lord. And this word prudent is wise. It means be wise in practical affairs. Discreet. Circumspect. That word means to be watchful, cautious, vigilant, and guarded. I've traveled in many states and other countries. I've met preachers from literally all over the world. And I've never met one that as blessed as I am. There's a lot of them close here today, but I'll tell you what, God blessed me when he put this woman in my life. This word also means to be sober. I know one of those pictures, I was wondering, I said, where has she been? When she's holding the wall up, but I know she didn't imbibe. So I believe it's probably during some of the pain. But the next thing says, careful in providing for the future. In this house, there are women, young women like Kelly, that they really thought they were our grandchildren. I mean, they literally thought, and probably still couldn't convince them that they're not our grandchildren. Others that are here that she's spoken to your life. I have this here. You may think this is a strange thing to have on a pulpit, but she loved her lammy pie. I asked Sharon to come in the room. Are you here, darling? Or she's back tending stuff in the kitchen. She's still in the back, but they're seeing this in the back. And I said, I got lammy pie up there because Wilma loved this. From the time they gave it to her, I had it wrapped around her. She had it wrapped around her feet the night that she passed. And one of my daughters said they want it, but they're not getting it. I just realized how soft it was. But back in 1980, I was holding revivals in Dallas, and I was at one church. I was there for 4 weeks, and so other doors opened, and there was a widow lady that another woman that was coming to the revival knew, and she said, you can rent a room from her and save on a lot on motels. And so I did that, and this lady lived out in what they call the Grove there in Dallas. And so one night I was preaching in Balch Springs, Texas, at a little old church. Sister Kramer was the pastor there, and this beautiful woman walked in, and I'll be honest, I didn't pay a lot of attention. And I did meet her a night or two later. She just kept coming back. And the Lord gave me a word for her, and I shared with her, and she worked for Reverend Jack Coe. She was his personal secretary. There were some of those pictures reflected that. So Wilma was not ignorant to anything that any subject that you would want to bring to her attention. She was not ignorant to that subject. And so she said, well, I don't know. I wasn't liking where I was staying. And this same friend said, well, why don't you see if she'll let you rent a room from her? So I did. And stayed there, and I was still there several weeks, and I loved being there because she had such a beautiful home. And I'd fix supper for her, and I'd do some things, but really it was nothing. I was her renter. That was it. And I called my organist that used to work for me up in Oklahoma, and he came in and played for me for a tent meeting in Dallas. And while I was busy, I had some other friends. The Meekers had come in, and I'd rented them a hotel room, and so I was kind of spending some time with them. And while I was busy with them, that dude put the make on Wilma. You're really going to laugh now. He was about 10 years mine. I was about 10 years his senior. Talk about robbing the cradle. And I got angry. I'm not going to tell you. I got Oklahoma mad. Threw a hissy fit. Went to those other kids that left. I went to their motel. I said, I ain't staying here. He can stay here. Do whatever you want to do with him. And so he went out and bought her some yellow roses because I'd made a mistake telling him how she loved yellow roses. And I looked at those things, and thank God there's power in prayer. I said, let those things die. They were dead the next morning. As sure as I'm standing here, they were dead. And he don't know how close he was to being dead. We drove up to take Mamaw up to David's, some of his relatives, and I still have the dress that she had on 30 years ago. And I didn't know I was in love with her at that time. And we were driving back down, and I just told her, she said, well, you sure did get it? I said, yeah, it's because I'm in love with you. And she said, well, I've loved you for a while. And so not long after that, I asked her to marry her, and she had to ask David about it. And he said, well, Mom, I want you to be happy, but he's going to have to change his name to Martin. As you well see, that didn't happen. But my life with this woman, I want to share you a lot of things. But as I look today, I see people that are now with Family Worship Center, but it'll be coon-neck to me all my life. You saw it on the pictures. You saw the coonskin caps at our wedding. Jerry, I think I saw him over there. I don't have those anymore, but I'm still the head coon. I'll tell you that right now. Still have the little thing to go on my desk about it. But we all had such a good time over the years, and friends that are here today. I love all of you, and I thank you for coming to share this day with us. I could go into a lot of personal and intimate things about my beautiful wife, but any of you that ever spend any time with her, I don't have to convince you of anything. Maybe how did she ever get with me, but that may be the only thing. But I think most of you saw that also. I think you saw a love that was true. And again, I don't know if there is such thing as a perfect marriage, but if there is, we had pretty close to it. Pretty close to it. And on her part, it was always perfect. I have to tell you, I'm not just here trying to make up something to say. I lived with a perfect woman in every way. We had lots of fun. When we carried her through when the cancer was the first diagnosis, and she had the mastectomy, I would joke with her then, and Kimberly came all the way from Michigan then to take care of her Mimi. And I just would joke with her. We had more fun. A lot of people didn't know that side of Wilma, but she had a sense of humor that you wouldn't believe. And, well, evidently you all knew more than I did. And some of these phone calls I'm hearing she's made the last couple of weeks. My goodness. I want you all to know she didn't have Alzheimer's, but she was on drugs. So whatever she told you, remember what she told you before. All the drugs. But I watched her suffer for about 10 months. It's the hardest thing in my life. Because I did love her so much. And when you want to help someone, you can't. It's a tragedy. On Wednesday, I was very protected. And this body, WPCC, you all will never know how much I appreciate what all you've done. Not just today, not just to get, I mean, people have worked almost around the clock getting this day where they could film it worldwide and all that today. And many, many other things, and feed all y'all, but, or not all of you, but a few of you. I'll tell you who you are. But anyway, as all this was transpiring, this body loved me. I have not been a pastor for the last several months at all. I said I've been a basket case. I melted down. Two people that I love as much as anybody in the world. I had a meltdown when they were here visiting. And totally lost it. But I tell you, because I loved her so much. And I'm just going to go the very last day. Well, actually a couple of weeks before. I told this to the body last week, and Betty already brought up about bodily function, so I guess I can mention them too. But we were at Stephen's graduation, and little Luke was sitting across the table, and between his mother and father, and me and Mimi she didn't even feel like going that night, but she said, "I'm going. I don't care. I'm going. I'm so proud of him. I'm going to go there and watch him graduate." Sat there a couple hours, and then took him to dinner. And we were sitting there, and little Luke crawled up on the table. His mama didn't even bust him that time. She usually beats his hiney. But that time she let him crawl on the table and said, Mimi, I want to tell you something. And so she thought she was going to hear, because he's the smartest kid I've ever seen. And he said, Mimi, that was my toot. He didn't say toot, but anyway. And she laughed about that. Her son's sitting right here, and he'll attest to it. He got in on Wednesday night about 9:40, and I just left him with his mom, and because I wanted them to have quality time. You know, when you walk in the Holy Spirit, I'm not the most spiritual man, but I'm not the stupidest either. I knew the Lord let me know that she was going home on Thursday. I knew that. Didn't want to realize it, but I knew it. And David Gill got there, and they were laying back, and he hollered. I was back in my man cave, and he hollered at me, and I went up there, and I said, "What in the world?" He said, "She's trying." She couldn't speak from Tuesday. Tuesday morning was the last time I heard her speak, until I'm going to finish the story, but hadn't heard her for a couple of days audibly speak. And David said, "She's wanting you to tell me something." He said, "I think she's saying about a joke."